right, everyone. Welcome back to the Scoreboard. WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM, and always taking phone calls, 704-873-1400. If you want to be part of the show, if you have something to say, if you have something to talk about, you can give me a call. I'm here. I'll answer your phone calls. We'll talk sports. We'll figure it out. We'll have a good old time. There are some things to get to today. But before we get there, I want to pick up where we left off yesterday, talking about NASCAR and Denny Hamlin. And I told you yesterday that Denny Hamlin, he's been, on this kind of PR kick, I guess is what I'll call it. Trying to become a voice Larson and Hamlin is what I'm talking about. And Denny Hamlin decided to talk about this on his podcast, and I'm just going to let you hear what Denny has to say. And now this is 24 hours ago. This was pretty much posted as we were on air here. It's just so baffling to me. So we're just going to hear what Denny has to say.
I still contest we did not touch. I know it looks like it, but there's not a ding on the car, not a scratch on the car, nowhere on the right side. So from where I was sitting on the left, I could not. If it was contact, I certainly didn't feel it. It was so small that I certainly didn't feel it in the car. I saw the flaps go up, which happens whenever you get some low pressure, I guess it's high pressure underneath the hood, which happens when you do get close to each other.
So Hamlin's still saying that he doesn't believe that they touched, and he's using the fact that the car doesn't have any scratches on it as his defense. Now, I'm no expert, but I've been watching NASCAR all year, been watching all last year when we had the new cars in there, and it just seems to me like these cars don't really take damage from bumps to the rear, hitting the wall. Sometimes you don't even see a scrape on the car. It just seems like Denny's really trying to make this a positive for him when it really isn't. He does not look good continuing to deny that he touched. He can't even admit that he hit Larson. And I was second guessing it yesterday because Larson was or Hamlin was so adamant about the fact that he did not touch him that this morning I'm looking at this video trying to say, does he actually not touch him? No. If you watch this video closely, and I'm telling you right now, he hit him. Larson is making his line. He's going to be just fine. He'll make the exit, and then all of a sudden you'll see his car veer just a little bit farther to the right than what it looked like it was going to do. That's where the contact is, and it's so small, but it's enough to where Larson went straight into the wall. And it ruined his race. You saw the speed that he had after that. Larson could not get going. And it's unfortunate because he was running up there. He was controlling those last two restarts. And he went from the lead to finishing 20th. I'd be mad if I was Kyle Larson. I completely understand where he's coming from. And I feel like if I'm Denny Hamlin, I need to start to apologize a little bit. Not a lot. Don't, because at this point, you're too far in. You've made your bed, as they say. Maybe just a little bit of an acknowledgement, like, okay, maybe I could have left him just a little bit more room, just something to make it seem like you're just not completely delusional. But no, we haven't seen that. And that was Pocono. We're going to move on from Pocono because this weekend we have Richmond coming up. We have some audio clips from some drivers from this week. We'll hear from Ryan Preece during the week, Kyle Busch, Michael McDowell, some guys that have some pretty good chances this weekend, I believe, to pull one off at Richmond. And Richmond's one of those tracks where it is supposed to be a good race. It's a short track, but sometimes it can really drag on. Now, I know we've seen some good ones here recently, but I'm not particularly looking forward to the Richmond race. And I don't know if it's the cars now or the track changing, but just something about that track. So, one of the guys that's actually struggled at short tracks this year has been Kyle Busch, which is not common of Busch because he very well-known, great short track driver, especially Bristol. Can we think to how many times Kyle Busch has dominated a Bristol race? But they've been struggling at the short tracks this year. So here's Kyle Busch on how big of a concern the team's short track struggles have been going into this weekend.
Yeah, it's a big concern. We're, again, just trying to figure it out, and how many things we've tried, I can't even comprehend to tell you. So, obviously, we haven't hit on it yet, but we got Richmond coming up next week, so we've got to find something that's going to work for us there, and, definitely some different conceptual ideas that are kind of going around again on what to do, but we'll just have to play it out and see how it goes.
It's got to be tough this late in the year if you're a driver that's locked in to the playoffs. It's got to be really tough to go to a short track, which we have short tracks in the playoffs. Let's not forget that we are going to have Bristol and we're going to have Martinsville in the playoffs, and Martinsville being the last race before Phoenix is especially important. It's got to be tough as one of those drivers that's locked in, ready to go, just gearing up for the playoffs, to know that you aren't where you should be at a particular type of track, because you don't want to have to go into these late races experimenting and hoping something sticks. This is when you experiment because you have something good, something you know that works, and then you go into these races when you're locked in saying, hey, let's give this a try. Maybe if we did this to the car, or did this to the car, or set it up a little bit differently, maybe we'll find some extra speed. But that's not what Larson's team or Kyle Busch's team is going to be doing this week. It seems like they are going to have to find a brand new short track package almost. And for this late in the year, it's got to be a little bit concerning. So coming up on a break here, I do have quite a bit of NFL news to get to. I know, it's like 3 days in a row now. Friday we had breaking news. Monday we had breaking news. And today it's less breaking. It happened way earlier in the day. But we do have NFL news to get to. There's been a running back that put pen to paper. There's also a cornerback who has been extended, and some holdouts as training camp begins for every team. So we'll touch on the NFL when we get back. We also have to get to the MLB because we are getting to trade deadline day. And boy, oh boy, are the teams starting to call in for Ohtani. So go ahead and stay tuned here to WSIC. This is the Scoreboard with Joe Berg. I will be right back after the break.
Stay up to date with the latest in your community, state, and nation. WSIC News Talk Now.
WSIC Community Calendar.
Ever wonder what Mooresville was like in 1873? The historic Downtown Walking Tour is a self-guided tour that will take you on a stroll through Mooresville's past to learn about the history of the town. Featuring 18 stops, the tour begins and ends at the corner of Main Street and Center Avenue. It should take 1 hour to complete. For more info, visit downtownmooresville.com. Are you a movie lover? Statesville's Parks and Rec Department will be having their Movies in the Park series on Friday, July 28th. They will be playing Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Seating opens at 8 o'clock and the movie will begin at 8:45. Refreshments will be available. Everything is $1. Bring your blanket and lawn chairs and enjoy a movie in the park. For more info, visit statesvillenc.com. Do you enjoy making pottery? Kane Center for the Arts in Cornelius has Ceramics Open Studio. Select Tuesdays and Saturdays, you can become the clay artist you were always meant to be. You must register in person. For the full schedule, visit canearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Grab your safety goggles for some mad science involving deadly cobras, irate Irishmen, and the occasional airship. Davidson community players will be presenting the Explorers Club on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays through July. For more information on show times and to buy your tickets, visit davidsoncommunityplayers.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today. Your WSIC community calendar.
I'm Dan Sutton with your WSIC forecast. For tonight, mostly clear with a low around 68 and light and variable wind. Wednesday, sunny with a high near 93 and southwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Wednesday night, mostly clear with a low around 72 and south winds 3 to 6 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny with a high near 94 and southwest winds 6 to 8 miles per hour. Thursday night, mostly clear.
WSIC Sports Director Joe Berg here. NASCAR Cup Series races are back on WSIC. Catch every race of the season right here on your home for NASCAR, News Talk WSIC.
News Talk WSIC, Statesville, Lake Norman's most trusted news source.
All right, we are back here. Scoreboard on WSIC 105.9, 100.7. As always, you can call in, talk sports. If you have something on your mind, have a question, comment, concern, suggestion, we have a comment box. It's anonymous. 704-873-1400. Okay. I teased some NFL news as we went to break. I didn't even tell you about it at the top of the show. To start, we didn't even mention the NFL news, but we have some signed players? Question mark? Okay. Let's get into this because we have quite a few to talk about. Before we get into that, I'm going to make you wait a little bit more. Here's another running back update for you. Jonathan Taylor, the Colts running back, he had off-season ankle surgery. He will open camp on the active PUP list. He can be activated at any point in the year. He will be back soon, but he is going to start on the PUP, physically unable to participate list. Okay. I'm done making you wait. Saquon Barkley signed a contract with the New York Giants. Yes, he did. And now we talked about an extension and how he wanted a certain amount. I think it was like he wanted $16 million a year, which is getting up towards Christian McCaffrey and his contract. But we have a contract for Saquon Barkley. And like I said, the extension, he wanted 16. He wanted multiple years. Once that date passed a couple of weeks ago, where he could not sign an extension, he was only able to either sign his franchise tag or a one-year deal for the year that he's franchise tagged. Well, he did not sign the franchise tag, but instead the Giants and Saquon Barkley agreed to a one-year, $11 million contract. with a $2 million signing bonus. So it keeps him happy. I don't know if what Saquon Barkley did was a win or not. Because it was reported that he didn't want to play on that contract. What was said was he wanted $16 million over a certain amount of time, and what he got is $11 million for 1 year. Now, he was offered 13 at one point over a certain amount of years. Did Saquon come out victorious here? Did anything change with the running back market? So here's what the difference between the franchise tag and the contract that he signed is. Franchise tag would have been $10.1 million in earnings with no signing bonus and no incentives. What he did sign, and he will report to camp. Now, this is part of the contract. He does have to report to camp now. $10.1 million. Same thing, but $2 million is signing bonus, and $900,000 is in incentives. So it could max out at $11 million. The only thing he didn't really get was a guarantee and a clause on his contract saying that the Giants could not tag him again after this season. Well, guess what? He doesn't have that. So if the Giants want, they can tag him again. Did Barkley win this? Did the running back market take another hit? I think this is a win for the Giants, a failed attempt at changing the running back market for Saquon Barkley, and a disaster for the running back market in general. Because, well, you turned down $13 million a year, and you ended up at 10 with the ability to get to 11. I just don't see where the win is in this for Barkley. It doesn't make sense to me. Now, maybe next year and next offseason, if Barkley has the same type of year that he has this year, maybe it was just, hey, I want some incentives. I want some guarantees here. I don't want it all to be contract-based. I need a signing bonus. Maybe if he performs the same this year, then the Giants will be more willing to give him an extension. But like I said before, he's just going to be another year older with even more wear and tear on his body now. So where does this seesaw swing to? Which side is it going to go? I don't know if Saquon's going to get another contract after this with the Giants. I wouldn't bring him back. I would not be signing running backs. I wouldn't have even franchise tagged him. The Giants made a mistake earlier in the offseason when they had to choose between signing or tagging one of Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Now, they decided to sign Daniel Jones to that 4-year, $40 million contract, and they tried to franchise tag Saquon, which put them in this situation. If they were this dead set on keeping both Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, why didn't they sign Saquon and tag Daniel Jones? Maybe it'll make him upset, but you could still negotiate. And there's the restricted tag, which is less than the unrestricted tag. And who's going to pay 2 first-round picks to get Daniel Jones and offer sheet him? I don't think anybody in the NFL would be that ludicrous to offer 2 first-round picks, which is what it would take if you give him an offer sheet and he signs with your team. Nobody's going to do that. So you would get them both back. I just don't know what the plan was here. And if you're Josh Jacobs as a Las Vegas Raider, are you mad at Saquon Barkley right now? Because this is like 2 days after he went on that podcast, Money Matters, That's the name of the podcast. And he said he might have to sit out this year because he didn't get a long-term deal. I would be a little upset if I'm Josh Jacobs. We just had this running back Zoom meeting where we talked about how we all wanted to figure out how we can get paid again, like top players, because they do contribute quite a bit. They contribute a lot. And like we talked about yesterday, they're the only position where the more they contribute, the more it hurts their negotiations in the future. Is Josh Jacobs going to sign? Is he going to stay on the franchise tag? I guess we'll find out. The other player that signed today, and this wasn't like a holdout situation, Cowboys and all-pro cornerback Trayvon Diggs have reached an agreement on a 5-year, $97 million contract. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. That's almost just shy of $20 million per year. Trayvon Diggs, he's going to be entering his 4th year, so it would have been his final year of his contract, but they got the extension done. He's got 2 okay years and 1 absolutely great year. His rookie year was, whatever. He was a rookie, 3 interceptions. But in 2021, he had 11 interceptions. And then he went back to only 3 interceptions here last year. Now, a couple of things to think about when you think about the way you read the numbers of a cornerback, because high interception numbers doesn't necessarily mean that they're a good corner. And I'll take Darrelle Revis as an example of this. I know this is like the most niche example, but Darrelle Revis had 27 interceptions. Nobody threw to him because they knew if they threw his way, they were going to be in trouble. Whereas when you see players like Trayvon Diggs have high interception numbers, that means they're getting picked on quite a bit. Now, I don't know what happened in between his rookie and sophomore year where teams said, okay, we're going to throw it Trayvon Diggs' way, and Trayvon Diggs ended up having 11 interceptions. But last year, they didn't throw it his way as much. Only 3 interceptions. And he still gets rewarded with a massive extension. Now, I think it's a good idea to lock him up early because the Cowboys definitely need a player like Diggs who's going to be able to hold down the position for the near future, because they have a lot of money tied up into their quarterback. They have a lot of dead money tied up in none other than Ezekiel Elliott. So it's not like they can really maneuver too much to correct any issues that they make. So they had to get this done early before he had another year like 2021 where he goes off for another 12 interceptions and then he needs the biggest contract ever. It was a good job by the Cowboys getting it done early. We're coming up on a break here on WSIC, the Scoreboard. This is Joe Berg, your host all the time. When we come back, we're gonna put a bow on the NFL, and then we're gonna touch on the MLB, the trade deadline, some of the things going on, and we'll have a highlight from Ellie De La Cruz and an announcement, a not real serious announcement, but an announcement nonetheless. So stay tuned for that when we come back here on the Scoreboard. This is WSIC.
Local and North Carolina news now on the new 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. News, talk, now.
I'm Mike Jackson, WSIC News. CommScope, a global telecommunications leader based in Hickory, plans to add 250 new jobs with a $60.3 million investment to expand its fiber optic cable manufacturing operations in Catawba County. The Fortune 500 company began with coax cable production for broadband and cable TV, and now offers end-to-end solutions for wired and wireless networks. CommScope develops, manufactures, installs, and supports network and hardware infrastructure for the digital community, such as high-speed internet. This project will upgrade the Catawba County facilities to increase the company's capacity to produce fiber optic cable. And Virginia-based Indigo IT, a leading information technology services provider, announced Tuesday that it has been awarded a contract to deliver comprehensive cybersecurity services for the U.S. Army Reserve Command at Fort Liberty in North Carolina. Indigo IT is a woman-owned small business with a focus on delivering creative solutions to meet unique stakeholder requirements. WSIC weather, mostly clear overnight, a low of 68. Wednesday, sunny with a high of 93. More sun for Thursday with a high of 94. Mike Jackson, WSIC News.
The Statesville Family YMCA is gearing up for pickleball. Come enjoy this popular game weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. If the weather is too bad for kids attending summer camp to be outside, pickleball will be canceled. The Statesville Family YMCA, 828 Wesley Avenue.
Fueling your conversations.
When I'm talking to the guys at work, I like to know what I'm talking about.
WSIC News Talk Now.
If it touches your family, your schools, your city, or your safety, News Talk WSIC has it covered.
Rub Ferry Road near the intersection at Hollywood Drive will be closed while...
News Talk WSIC.
You're fierce. You take care of business and don't hold back. Taking care of your health shouldn't be any different. You know when something's off. Don't ignore symptoms like fatigue, joint pain, and rashes. Listen to your body. It could be lupus. We're here to help you take control. Learn how at BeFierceTakeControl.org. Brought to you by the Lupus Foundation of America and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Here's a real-life story that affects 50% of all of us out there. It's called divorce. If you've gotten divorced and now you're struggling to pay your bills and your credit card debts are completely out of control, you need to call this special debt relief hotline right now. We help people with all kinds of money problems caused by different life challenges, a divorce, a job loss, even heavy medical bills. All these life events can sometimes financially stress you out and cause you to get out of control. We help people get their lives back by showing them ways to consolidate and reduce their debt, in some cases for a fraction of what they owe. If your credit card balances are more than $10,000, call us and learn how to reduce your credit card bills and monthly payments now. Here's our number.
Paid for by Debt.com. 800-485-4189. 800-485-4189. 800-485-4189. That's 800-485-40.
Always ready to help you make it fun to work outside. Little Shavers Wood Shop stocks up on all your wood, treated lumber, wood fencing, and all the treatment items to keep them looking great. PBG paints and stains, and add in some pine needles and Daddy Pete's mulch and soils, and your landscaping will be the best around. Tools, supplies, and just about all you need is ready for you at Little Shavers. Head on over to Little Shavers, 3301 Salisbury Highway, right in between Statesville, Morrisville, and Moxville. Visit LittleShaversWoodshop.com. That's LILShaversWoodshop.com.
Listen up, Carolinas. Make this the summer for a new Ram at Charlotte's #1 Ram dealer, Lake Norman Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. We guarantee to beat any new Ram deal in the nation. I-77 exit 28 or LakeNormanChrysler.com.
Announcing the 50th anniversary of a classic, Tilly Harley-Davidson of Statesville. Today, Derek Tilley continues the legacy his parents began. Remember when you were younger and dreamed of owning a Harley one day?
This is Derek Tilley with Tilly Harley-Davidson. Come on, help us celebrate a milestone.
So what are you waiting for? Save gas and have fun with Tilly Harley-Davidson during the 50th anniversary celebration.
Been around 50 years, must be doing something right.
Tilly Harley-Davidson of Statesville.
Welcome back to the Scoreboard here on WSIC. As always, if you'd like to call in, 704-873-1400. We accept any and all calls here, toll free. So go ahead and give us a call, 704-873-1400. Heading into the break talking about the NFL and Trayvon Diggs' contract. Here's how it breaks down for Trayvon Diggs. He's on 5 years, $97 million. He is now the fourth highest paid cornerback in the league, and he has the fifth highest average annual value of all cornerbacks in the league. So Trayvon Diggs getting paid relative to his market price as a number one cornerback. So there's really no questions when it comes to that. Now, when you turn to the other side here and you look at Saquon Barkley and his contract, Saquon Barkley will be the 19th highest paid running back in the NFL this year. 19th. He was one of the best backs in the league last year. And guys on rookie contracts are getting paid more than him. Bijan Robinson this year is going to be the 8th highest paid running back in the league. Rookie Bijan Robinson. Rookie. That just goes to show you how bad this running back market issue is. And it doesn't stop there. We talked about Josh Jacobs and what he might think about this Saquon Barkley deal. Well, it was reported earlier today that Josh Jacobs will not be reporting to camp. He has apparently left Las Vegas and has no plans of returning anytime soon. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. If Jacobs gets himself a contract or if he just decides to stay on that franchise tag, I'm going to continue to say I don't think it's a good idea to sit out an entire season, miss an entire season of play. I just don't think it's a good idea. We headed into the break and I said that we would be talking about the MLB, but I have a few other things to hit first and foremost. First off, out of the NBA, earlier today, Celtics star Jaylen Brown signs the richest deal in NBA history. 5 years. How much are we thinking? If I told you the richest deal in NBA history, and you said it's a 5-year deal, what is the total going to be? Well, if you guessed $304 million, you'd be correct. Jaylen Brown getting $60.8 million a year for the next 5 years. That is the Supermax, as they call it in the NBA, which if you're familiar with the contracts in the NBA, they have it structured to where if you win awards, you're eligible for this much money. Well, Jaylen Brown was eligible for the Supermax, and he got the Supermax. So that was one of the things that we needed to touch on here today. And I don't know if that really means anything. NBA contracts are huge anyway. There's really no limit as to how much you can spend. We see it with the Warriors and the Lakers and how much they decide to spend on players. So I don't really know if this matters. I would hope, just like in the MLB, I would hope that soon the CBA will say, okay, you are not allowed to spend more than this much money, because I think it'll make things a lot more competitive in both the MLB and the NBA. And speaking of MLB, you know what would help a lot more than a salary cap is a salary floor. Like, you are not allowed to spend less than this much money on your players, because, man, there are some teams that you got one or two players combined making more than an entire team, namely, cough, cough, the Athletics. But we're not going to talk about that. We're gonna bring it back in here because we have one other piece of news to get to. I'm sorry, two other pieces of news to get to. This one out of the NFL. Nick Bosa not reporting to camp as both sides continue to negotiate a long-term deal. He will be holding out. And Brock Purdy, actually, this one just coming through, he is cleared without restrictions after he hurt his elbow in that NFC Championship game. And that might turn into one of the biggest what ifs of recent NFL history. Is what if the 49ers had a quarterback to play against the Eagles? Who knows what would have happened? I would have loved to see Brock Purdy going up against Jalen Hurts, but you know that sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. Sometimes it works out to where Brock Purdy can't throw the ball. He has to have elbow surgery, and you can only run it while you're down 2 scores. So sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And the final piece of news today, LeBron James' son, in stable condition after collapsing on the court during USC practice yesterday. It's reported that he had a cardiac arrest event and he is out of the ICU and in stable condition. That's all I know so far. But I'll continue to take a look at that, and if there are updates to be had, I will update you every chance I get. Okay, let's get to the MLB because we have a lot to get to here. Elly De La Cruz is making headlines yet again, and I told you I was going to announce something today. Here's the announcement. For the rest of the year, for the rest of the MLB season, this show, the Scoreboard, is on the Cincinnati Reds bandwagon. Yes, we are, baby. We're going to be fans of the Reds for the rest of the year. Let's hear it. All right. All right. So we got plenty to talk about. And you know why we're going to be fans of the Reds for the rest of the year? Because this man, Elly De La Cruz, is just absolutely incredible. Here's what he did last night.
De La Cruz, high fly, deep right center, gone! That's out of the stadium. It went over the SUV. It cleared the stands. That ball had a family.
That ball had a family. Oh my goodness. Elly De La Cruz with a 450-foot bomb. It's not his only 450-foot bomb of the season either. And, man, that thing sounded different off the bat. That was like that Ohtani one that I played the other day where it was the foul ball. Let's just hear this off the bat one more time. Oh, just that. Man, you just know. There's sometimes when you're listening to baseball, you just know what happened. And that was like, if you're not looking at the screen, if you're like talking to somebody over here, you're like, yeah. And first of all, you shouldn't be looking away when Elly De La Cruz is up to bat. You should be glued in to what he's doing. Same with Shohei Ohtani. But you know, you're just chilling, watching, talking to somebody. Maybe you're at the bar and all of a sudden you hear, whoa! Who hit that one? Oh, it was De La Cruz. Yep. That sounded like him. Man. And I say we're gonna bandwagon the Reds for the rest of the year. They have now fallen a game and a half behind Milwaukee in the NL Central. So, you know, still a lot of time left in the season, but they have fallen out. They are tops in the wild card, though, which is good. But this wild card race in the National League, it's heating up. I said a couple of weeks ago, I think last week I said that the AL is probably going to be closer, but man, I'm going to talk a little bit about this when we come back from break because we are quickly approaching our final break here. But the NL, we have some tie. We have a 3-way tie for the final spot in the NL wildcard right now. So stay tuned here on WSIC. This is the Scoreboard with Joe Berg. If you'd like to call in, 704-873-1400. Don't change that radio. Don't turn off the Facebook stream. We will be right back.
Take your favorite WSIC shows with you anytime by going to WSIC News wherever you get your podcasts.
WSIC.
Ever wonder what Mooresville was like in 1873? The historic downtown walking tour is a self-guided tour that will take you on a stroll through Mooresville's past to learn about the history of the town. Featuring 18 stops, the tour begins and ends at the corner of Main Street and Center Avenue. It should take 1 hour to complete. For more info, visit downtownmooresville.com. Are you a movie lover? Statesville's Parks and Rec Department will be having their Movies in the Park series on Friday, July 28th. They will be playing Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Seating opens at 8 o'clock and the movie will begin at 8:45. Refreshments will be available. Everything is $1. Bring your blanket and lawn chairs and enjoy a movie in the park. For more info, visit statesvillenc.com. Do you enjoy making pottery? Kane Center for the Arts in Cornelius has Ceramics Open Studio. Select Tuesdays and Saturdays, you can become the clay artist you were always meant to be. You must register in person. For the full schedule, visit canearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Grab your safety goggles for some mad science involving deadly cobras, irate Irishmen, and the occasional airship. Davidson community players will be presenting the Explorers Club on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays through July. For more information on show times and to buy your tickets, visit davidsoncommunityplayers.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today. Your WSIC community calendar.
I'm Dan Sutton with your WSIC forecast. For tonight, mostly clear with a low around 68 and light and variable wind. Wednesday, sunny with a high near 93 and southwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Wednesday night, mostly clear with a low around 72 and south winds 3 to 6 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny with a high near 94 and southwest winds 6 to 8 miles per hour. Thursday night, mostly clear.
We do it all for you. WSIC News Talk Now. Serving you better than ever before. The new 105.9, 100.7 WSIC News Talk Now.
Check out WSIC's new website at WSICnews.com.
Final segment here today. Scoreboard with me, Joe Berg, on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM. If you'd like to call in, 704-873-1400. I got one more thing to talk about before we get into the MLB. One more thing, and it's going to be really quick. It's just going to be shouting out one thing that was announced today. It was announced that longtime Boston Bruins center Patrice Bergeron will be stepping away from hockey. He is going to retire. So Patrice Bergeron, he's going to be a Hall of Famer in the NHL. That is a fact. He is stepping away, retiring. Great career, captain of the Bruins right now for the past few years, and yeah, he's going to be stepping away. And he was pretty much on the edge of doing that last year, but decided to come back for one more year. And then the Bruins had that absolutely insane regular season. I say regular season because, well, they couldn't make it past the first round. The greatest regular season of all time, and they didn't get past the first round. And after that, Patrice Bergeron decided, you know what? It is time. I'm going to hang up the skates and walk away from hockey. So congratulations to a great career for Patrice Bergeron. MLB trade deadline fast approaching, and we are now getting names of teams who are calling about Shohei Ohtani. Okay, I'm going to say this. Be careful what we really perceive as an inquiry about a trade, because it's now been reported that at least 3 teams have reached out to the Angels. The Diamondbacks, the Orioles, and the Yankees. if I'm a GM, I don't care what team I'm the GM for. If you don't at least call to see what it would take, you should be fired. Because it is now known that they are listening to trade offers. And if you have a chance to get the greatest player of this generation, why not? See what it would take. I would at least want to know, like, hey, it's going to take this many MLB players, this many top 100 prospects, and like another prospect or two along the way. If you're a GM of an MLB team and you do not inquire about what it will take to get Shohei Ohtani, you should be fired. So I'm going to caution everybody when we're reading these reports of who's reaching out to the Angels over the next week. It might not be real trade talks. It might just be reaching out to do your due diligence and make sure, okay, yeah, it is about what we expected. We're not even going to worry about this. Now, like, if you're the Rockies, you're one of the worst teams in the league, okay, I can understand not reaching out. You know, they're 20 games under 500. If you're Kansas City, if you're Oakland, there's no reason to reach out. First of all, Shohei's not going to want to go there. So he's probably not going to resign. But second of all, there's really no reason to bring Shohei Ohtani to a team that's won 25% of their games. But everybody else in the league, every other GM better be calling. So the three teams that we know that have already called, like I said, the Diamondbacks, the Orioles, and the Yankees. And I talked about all three of these teams as possible destinations, and I like the aggressiveness of Baltimore. You know, the first time that you're in the lead this late in the season after the All-Star break in the AL East, and you say, you know what? We're going to see what we can do. See what it would take to get Shohei Ohtani on our team, because you never know. Maybe you call and they're like, who knows? I mean, there could be one prospect in your system that the Angels could be in love with, and you have them, and you didn't know. But you won't know unless you call. So, props to the Orioles. My only question with this is, would they be able to afford Ohtani in the offseason? Because he's going to get, man, I would be surprised if it's anything under $65 million a year. I'm thinking we're going to see a 10-year, $700 million contract to Shohei Ohtani. He's going to be a billionaire. That is for certain. We can already say he's going to make $1 billion at some point, whether it's through another contract after his next one, or advertising, or you know, anything going on in Japan that he's doing with advertising, if he's doing any at all. But I would be shocked if it's anything under $65 million a year. Because like I've been saying, you're getting two players in one. You're getting an elite Cy Young candidate pitcher, and you're getting an elite MVP-worthy position player. The Diamondbacks currently are sitting in the wild card in the NL. They are in a three-way tie for that last wild card spot. Arizona, Miami, San Francisco, and then Philadelphia a half game back. Cincinnati only a half game in front of those three teams that are tied. So this NL wild card race is going to get quite close. And don't forget about the division leaders, because those are nowhere near one yet. So the Dodgers have a 4-game lead over Arizona and San Francisco. Milwaukee, as I just said, 1.5 games over Cincinnati. Atlanta's really the only NL team where I can say, okay, you're more than likely winning that division. You're going to have a good playoff run. Everybody else, it's still a fight. And even in the AL, I mean, when you look over to the American League, we know Baltimore has overtaken Tampa Bay after they went on that absolutely ridiculous start to the season, where they won 14 games before they lost. You have Minnesota only 4 games ahead of Cleveland, and you have Houston 2 games behind the Texas Rangers. So there's a lot of opportunity here for teams to come out. And the Angels and Seattle, they're not out of it in that division. So all of these teams, every single one of them, they need to be inquiring about Shohei Ohtani. There's no reason not to. Like I said, you're still in the race until there's evidence that we're not going to make it. We're not going to be a playoff team. We are not going to sign Ohtani in the offseason. There's no reason to inquire. Okay. Besides Ohtani, we have other players to look out for during this trade deadline. And MLB.com has put out a list of 17 players that are most likely to be traded in the next week. And when I'm looking at this list, I mean, there's a few guys where it's like, okay, I can see how they're going to be a real difference maker, but for the most part, it could be a real one player is the grand prize this year. Now, I've seen that Cody Bellinger has been linked to some trades to New York, and that's only if the Cubs decide to sell. Now, I'm sure that there's going to be other players who we haven't really heard about yet who might be open to moving, but the Cubs, they're sitting in a spot where over the next couple of weeks, over the next week, they're going to have to decide, are we going to make a run for it, or are we too far back and we're just going to go ahead and sell and try to get some talent, see what happens in the future. We got the Women's FIFA World Cup going on still. I want to touch on this before we end the show today. We only got about 2 minutes left. So Team USA, the U.S. Women's National Team, they will be back in action. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and tomorrow at 9 o'clock, Team USA will be taking on the Netherlands. That is match 23 of Group E. So we've already played our first game. As we talked about, the U.S. beat Vietnam. And some of the discourse from that game was that Team USA did not look like Team USA. And they still won 3-0. Now, granted, it was against Vietnam, who's really not projected to do anything in this World Cup. But it's good to have a team that a 3-0 win is like, hey, we didn't play good. Especially in soccer. And one of the arguments I always hear about soccer being low scoring is, it's low scoring. It's not fun to watch. It's just as low scoring as football, man. 3-0 is 21-0 in football. That's a score that we've seen many times. So look out for Team USA tomorrow, taking on the Netherlands. I'm excited for this run. I think that we could see another championship from Team USA. And I mean, why not? They got a good squad. They have some young players. They have veterans on the team. They're projected to be in the finals. There's no reason that they shouldn't be, breezing through group play. It helps to get that first win out of the way, but let's go ahead and beat the Netherlands and really solidify ourselves in the knockout round here coming up in a couple of weeks. That's going to be all the time we have for today, folks. I want to thank everybody for listening. Hope everybody made it home safe if you were driving home today. Long day. It's going to be a hot week, man. Like 95 degrees. If you heard the weather update, man, it's going to be brutally hot. So everybody make sure you're staying cool. Maybe take a dip in a pool somewhere. Make sure you're feeling good. Don't get heat stroke out there. But we'll be back tomorrow as long as the heat doesn't fry the station. Same time, same place. This is the Scoreboard with Joe Berg here on the new WSIC 105.9 100.7. Tomorrow morning, Justin Kazepis at 7 a.m. Pat Shannon will follow him, and I will be back at 6 o'clock. Have a good day, everyone.
The new